Okay, we're with Neville Dinoons. Neville, at least you could tell the people your background in the ball and your history in the football, Trinidad and Tobago football.
Well, first, I'm grateful for this opportunity. For more than one reason is that football meant so much. It's like life, you know. Being originally from Savanetta, in the Curepe, where the foundation really started, the Curepe Rangers. And going on to Texas, Tunapuna EC, Earl Murray being one of the tutors, Earl Murray, and Mr. Vernon being from Tunapuna. You know, responsible, Texas and Phoenix, basically responsible for my whole development. And attending Hillview College, so in Tunapuna. So basically Tunapuna, Tacarigua, St. Augustine, Curepe, St. Joseph, those are the areas, Mount Lambert, those are the areas that I grew up. And then, due to parental movement at age 16, you know, and moved from St. Augustine.
How did you go in the army and stuff?
Well, our team who beat Mexico was practically recruited by Ralph Brown, you know what I mean, Major Brown, you know what I mean, he come and he take Kalayan Juice was the captain. I haven't seen anybody.
So Major Brown, that's Major Brown from the army.
Right, you know, Brigadier Brown, right?
Yeah.
So 1978, as a 19-year-old, I entered the Defense Force, and generally my career launched from there, so to speak, because the order and the discipline, like coming from the youth team, we had to wait our turn to play. It wasn't like he's a good player and you fall in one time. It wasn't that. It was like process. You know, so you had to really stick the grind, even though, you know, the order was there. But when you get the opportunity, you was forced to take it, otherwise end on the bench. And I never liked bench. so the extra work, all the work from the army, you know, you would work hard with the army, 3 hours, and then when I come home, I will still go and work the next 3 hours, just trying to become a professional player. Again, and representing the Defense Force for all these years, playing CONCACAF. You know, the international experience, playing against teams from Suriname, Curacao, Aruba, and all Caribbean countries. You know, it was really a fantastic opportunity for me.
So let me ask you, did you get an opportunity to come to Canada with Defense Force?
My first venture to Canada was in 1979, and the coolest I ever felt in my life at Lamport Stadium.
You're right.
So
I didn't know,
right. So and also my first exposure to the AstroTurf, which was, in my opinion, something that, you know, it was new, foreign, and almost untenable for the players, because men who like to make skate tackles and these things, and you know, so it was a whole new learning experience, and also you know, feeling cold, you know, like having on, you know, a
but don't say that. That's summertime. Don't do that.
Well, I'm saying to you, being from the tropics, and you know, and I had to drink a lot of hot chocolate in
just get a little cool sometimes.
So keep coming to the I played an IRE tournament, that from 1979, 80, 81, all the years that the Defense Force was here. We were there winning it a couple of times too, right? So that experience, you know, advanced my whole thinking. Traveling was our only incentive really. And apart from, you know, seeing your name in the papers and these things, that it didn't have really anything else offered until our generation, I would say, without no apologies, lifted the standard once again. After, you know, watching senior players, you know what I'm saying, the Steve Russell Fisher, defender, I would say, you know, Sammy Lewenman, players who really got my, you know what I mean,
attention, yeah.
Men from the East, you know, like, you know, Boggy Haynes and Godfrey Harris, and a number of players who Steve Spear, a number of men who really, you know what I mean, inspired us. Neil Caesar, you know what I mean, Calvin Ostick Lewis, who I met, who also was in Canada with IRE. So, you know what I mean, so it was like, football was everything to me, you know what I mean. And like I said, the full squad playing for the national team, the jersey meant everything, you know, just like before the national kit was like, wow, yeah, boy, you know what I mean?
So you made Trinidad national team from the Defense Force, or you just
right,
the Defense Force?
No, well, this is what I'm saying. At age 20, I was called up to the national team. So where Alvin Cornell was the coach, 1980. And in 1981, Trinidad and Tobago won its first gold medal in football. And no one seems to know who the players are or were.
You come into the youth program, which is big with you right now.
Well, after forming MOVA elements as we were calling that time, We were formed in 1980.
And Elements was formed to do what?
Football, basically football. While
competitive?
We were playing just small goalposts and minor leagues all over Trinidad. Playing in Chinapoli with Dalkey, playing in the Mova League, playing in the Levante League, playing in Dalgo League, playing in leagues all over from 1980 until 1985 when I left the Defence Force.
Okay. And some Elements
right. So well, in 1985 we went to the bottom division, we won out, and then 1986 we got promoted, and we won the champion in 1986 after winning the North Zone.
Okay.
And we win the national champions with all
the teams. And that's over Elements, right?
Yes, Elements. Yes. And then we went to what they call in the Pro League now, 1987. And where we came second, one of our highest accolades so far. We became second to Trinidad in 1987 in the Big Four in Arima. And after that, I lost all my players. The Defence Force recruited Ross Russell, who would have just retired from the Defence Force and coaching Central at this time. I had my brother Clyde Inone, who was also a member of the national team. And, senior players were just moving on because we were not in a position to pay or to hold on to any players. So that sent me in a different time, and then the coup of 1990 kind of forced players, So I started to focus on 1991 on more youth development.
And how is that going?
Well, over the years, I decided that I needed to get further education to help further develop the youth, especially coming from an underprivileged area as Mova and stigmatized. So I attended university from 1994 until 1997, UWI, did physical sciences.
Which is
University of the West Indies, doing physical education and health sciences, which I think, elevated my whole philosophy. Also, I have done the PTI course with the Defence Force 1987. So going to university was an eye-opener for me. A combination of all the factors required to produce the best product. So from 1997, after graduating, I was called to work with Joe Public. And in 1998, as you record with show 1998, Joe Public won everything in 1998. Again, because of administrative situations, I could not continue because certain elements I would use were trying to, override the coach.
With no pun intended.
Right, yes. No pun intended. Trying to, take control of the coach's job, and something that I am totally against. Well, like I said, youth are the future, so my focus was really to go to the crux of the matter. So I started to coach in the Ministry of Sports. I started coaching all the primary schools in Mova. Every day I would do 2 sessions, working for $25 a session that time. And we had a competition at the back of Chinapoli government, which was won by Mova Anglican. I remember Kevin Phillips, maybe deceased right now. I remember Coach Gwen Cuss, So Mova Anglican was one of the main schools with sports, basically. And from there, Elements we played in.
What year was that?
That was like 1985, 86, around there. And I always focused on the youth development, and that was my great concern, and still continues to be, passionate for me, because the youths are not being given the correct ingredients to survive the rigors of football, to enjoy the game to the fullest. Like I would say, the ABCs of the game are not being taught: agility, balance, and coordination, together with the social and the psychological. I think too many times we forsake the simple things, trying to get to the bigger things. I think we have it sometimes wrong. We need to ensure that the players, are properly, nourished, and educated. Because without our football education, we are falling way short of our destiny and our destination.
So what categories are youth? What divisions?
Well, right now, like I say, we have Mova Elements have a team in the North Zone. And at the youth level, unfortunately, for the past 4 or 5 years, we haven't had any youth football. So that has caused a lot of degradation, a lot of frustration. And however, out of that came a process about sports tourism, where the Caribbean countries will get involved at youth level, maybe under 13, under 16, to help encourage that whole psychosocial development in the Caribbean. Met with one, Mr. Carter of Barbados, tourism industry, and also Mr. Hamilton Lashley of Barbados, former politician and, advocate for youth in underprivileged areas, so to speak. So last year, between the 13th and the 19th of December, MOVA Elements, a number of teams from Trinidad went up to the first edition of the Hamilton Lashley Foundation Youth Soccer Clinic. And this year, from the 13th to the 19th of August, MOVA Elements hosted. We had 7 teams coming from Barbados, in the tournament at under 14 level and under 17 level. Gary John win the under 14 with Empire coming second. And the under 17 level, we had Gall Hill winning and Gary John coming second. So we had a wonderful tournament.
Where was that played?
We played both in MOVA and Constantine Park, Tunapuna. Now, the Constantine Park was figured by the teams who were here trying to make it centralized. So, for me, the team came together and they said Tunapuna. Without thinking twice, Tunapuna was my home, but they didn't know that. So it was like, going back home to me. So everything was like I said before, it was like going home to me. So we also had MOVA Elements took the opportunity, I being the president of MOVA Elements, took the opportunity to honor both Mr. Bain and Mr. Earl Murray.
Vernon Bain, okay.
And Mr. Earl Murray, my two former teachers.
Vernon Bain was the secretary of the East Football.
Right, was also a teacher at Polytechnic. Right, and so he was also the president of Phoenix Football Club, and also Sir Frank. So Frank Warriors team, which I was also a member of.
That's what Norby and them.
Norbert and Ostrich and all those other people, right? And those are the guys I really learned under. Norbert Phillip and Calvin Lewis and Neil Caesar and these guys. So I'm saying the youth is
now how you see MOVA and what needed in MOVA.
What I'm seeing right now is the further development of the infrastructure that we have. And I must say, the last government, which was the People's Partnership, they did something for the infrastructure in MOVA without no apologies. They refurbished at least the pavilion in Coconut Drive and also at MOVA Recreation Ground Park Street where they fixed over the pavilion.
Oh, they refurbished one in Coconut Drive?
Yes.
Okay.
That was like 2 years ago. And now last year they fixed MOVA, as you will see, if you notice the place.
Yeah, I was here in May. Yeah.
Right, so they have refurbished. And I will hope that this new government that we have could really take it to the next level in that, they put structures in place. Because what we have is that we have a number of youngsters here, but none of the educators are coming, right? And you find...
Is that because of stigma? Is that because of...
It's because of stigma. And, and I used to always say, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Come and see, I would always say that because I'm a believer. Right, and I believe everything can be done once you put, the best effort forward. And I think that is one of the areas where we,
So what you hope to do with your little organization with MOVA Elements? So, your organization name, is it MOVA Elements or Elements?
It used to be Elements, but now we are MOVA Elements and has been MOVA Elements for maybe the past 10 years, could be more.
Okay, so what you hope to accomplish? What's your objective with Elements?
To advance the word MOVA would encompass everyone, to make it an international program, encouraging the youth to have something to look forward to, with structure in place and discipline. And I think too many people are being sold illusions about MOVA. And many people are taking advantages of MOVA by saying they're going to do for MOVA, but they're not really doing. They are doing for themselves. They use MOVA as a footstool. They use MOVA to get people to feel sorry for them. They use MOVA to cry down the youth in MOVA, like all the youth in MOVA is just whatever you want to call them. But I'm saying that we need to come and get the diamond out of the rough and make it and put it up on the pedestal. As you would know, Trinidad went to the World Cup. Who's the man scored the goal for us? Dennis Laurent. Dennis is a member of Dennis live in my house. As I live at my Gold Crescent right next to me. So Dennis and all those guys who went to Malik in those days, I will call from Sean David, Dwyer Carr, Gary Glasgow, Marvin Gordon, the present coach of the Defence Force team, and a number of players, Otis Whitley, Stokely Mason, all those guys who would have represented Trinidad and would have gone to Malik, even Brent Sancho, the former Minister of Sport. We have it in there, but like I'm saying, no one comes, and when they come with their hands swinging, just to take what they see and go, without returning anything to the people who have worked in the vineyard, people who have, labored, and are talking about intensive labor. They will just come and take. Right now we have teams in the Pro League around, which is, did I say what, Mova, Caledonia.
I was going to ask you about
right, that. Right, that's the next kind of story. If you want to talk about that, we could go that. But there's Jabloteh, there's the Defence Force, there's, a number of teams in and around that I would say pillage the academies without any remuneration. They would come, and again, I don't blame I blame the parents who get called away because of the name. And then when a situation arises, they would usually come back home to say, so, my son got injured, they put him on the bench, or they put him, drop him off, nobody. So we have to rehabilitate. So I say sometimes it's not the clubs to blame, sometimes the parents and the players themselves.
Yeah.
So in our club we have started to educate the players further and the parents as to the steps they have to take in order to achieve their goals. And many of them now are now understanding the requirements needed to advance themselves. And it's about the holistic development. It's not about just football alone. It's the whole rounded person you're looking for. So you're looking for better people, so you get better players and better personnel for the whole of Trinidad.
So you think your team would be able, the under 13, under 11 would be able to participate next weekend?
Punctuality and regularity. The whole match pass is a initiation towards that order that is required. I mean, growing up as a youngster, we used to look forward to the match pass, having a queen, and players anxious, and then you have a nice big game or a round robin tournament. So players were excited and anticipated the whole process. Now what you have, boy, you're having a league, and tomorrow you have a match, and no kind of, proper advertisement, no proper structures to say, well, this is what's happening, or that's what's happening. Players come and address anyhow, and that's the problem I have. So I kind of stay away from disorder. I don't like disorder.
Okay.
So I would refrain myself from participating in leagues that continue to just anyhow laissez-faire attitudes and things. So that's my main concern, that the youth, especially come from areas that stigmatized, that we show them, hey, what, they must ask them from over, So that is the impetus that I use to encourage players. One time we went to play the under 11s, we went to play at Wassa, and there was this guy from Canada named Portia James. He's in Canada now. He was playing here, he had a son playing for the other team. And when we won the game 1-0, and then he was asking, them fellas from over, he was like shocked because he wanted to know how them fellas from over and behaving so, and he eventually came and joined and became manager of Mobile Elements. And now he's migrated to Canada with his family, So
that says it all there about impression and yeah.
Right. So I'm saying, and he was also a person working, I think, maybe some of the financial institutions in Trinidad. So I'm saying that those are the things that we need. We need people who have that concern and that knowledge and the willingness to work with hungry, starving, underprivileged kids who striving for excellence and who has only sport and as the main alternative to the other areas. And what you find happening that the other areas of life that surround us, they have people offering those guys incentives, you know what I'm saying to you? Where on the football field now, where there hardly any incentives to the kids, you have kids coming barefooted, they didn't eat properly, all the social ills that affect us. I think we need that intervention from maybe a foreign entity to assist in the whole psychosocial economic development,
So what was your trend of thought this morning after receiving the call?
Well, what happened even before that, right? I want to say that I've been crying out now to the Lord God, you know, to really send the angels in, send something, you know, because I am starting to really
get tired.
Yes, you know, in the sense of wanting to take a back or to stand still to mark time then, you know, and just let's see who's advancing then, you know, and the purpose. Because I always watch at purpose, you know. Why am I doing this? Or why is he doing this? You know, what is his incentive for doing this?
Mm.
And many people want to do things for money, and sometimes, like me, I do it for the love. But if money come out of it, give me some, please. Don't take on my behalf and do not allow me to give, because many of the kids right now, they don't have boots, and at those ages, 10 and 11, you know how fast a man is outgrow boots.
Yeah.
So you find sometimes you have a youth man, after 3 months, that boot is no longer able, and then his parents is unable to come out of that 200 or 300. So football shoes or boots is one of the main concerns I have now for players. We have to, we're recycling the boots. You know what I mean? I would have a good player and his parents can't afford it. I would have to personally go and buy it. And in 3 months, you would go the boots, have to go on. So it's a whole issue. We try 1 or 2 fundraising events, keep a barbecue, keep a breakfast, keep a, you know, but how far can this go, right? We need that international sponsorship to enhance.
So basically, your duty to call this morning, you're envisioning some kind of opening, some kind of breakthrough? At
least for the players. So they have something to look forward to. Watch now, we going to Canada next year. Boy, yeah. Right, them fellas go have an incentive.
Thanks, Nevin, but I'm true to always find it out for myself. So
you go to the store.
Yeah, so thanks for the interview.
Thank you, sir, for this opportunity, because many people come, but they don't want to talk to me because I do sell illusions. I deal with it straight as it is. You ready or we ain't ready? I think right now we need to get ready. And like I say, proper preparation prevents poor performances, the 5 P's. So we need to prepare in every aspect of life so that the performance and results will take care of itself.
All right. Okay, thanks, sir.